So we've talked a little about the power supply board, and this was actually the receiving board. And the same technology Municipal really applied to burglar and fire alarms at the time, basically McCullough circuits. And these were the circuits, circuit number 11, 12, 13, 14, and these were the box numbers. So in this case, this is box 137, circuit 11. There was many cities like Boston or New York City had dozens and dozens of circuits with 30, 40 boxes off of a circuit. What typically would happen is there'd be a code punch register. You can see the series of punches. And when an alarm came in, it will go to a box location. This is a box called a T-handle box. And if there was a fire and emergency, they would open it, they would hit the box, and visually you could actually see 4 space 1. And that would be a round. No different than an IP transmitter or a digital communicator that we know today. And it would actually take a second round, that was round 2. And it would also print out, so if you look carefully, you can see punch 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. That means box 41. And the reason they had multiples was in case there was any noise on the line, but also if multiple boxes were pulled simultaneously, you could have a clash. And operators really had to be really knowledgeable in determining where boxes came in. Later on, they would interrupt these boxes. It's pretty interesting to note that we're looking at technology that's way over 100 years old, and it still works. It's funny because show me a computer that's 10 years old that's still working. So in that instance, what would happen is remember, Nextel, Sprint, PCS hadn't really been invented. Telephone, 1870s. Phone was invented. It wasn't really readily used until the early 1900s. So what they would do is they would retransmit the actual signal. This would be at fire headquarters or fire receiving. And they typically put these fire receiving headquarters in a park. And the reason they did that is because no one would build around them. They were concerned about fire. So they determined the box location, they determined the circuit, they determined where the closest fire station is. In this case, this particular community had 10 fire stations. And they would retransmit the alarm 1, 2, 3, 4, space 1, space 1. Box 41, we have a one alarm fire. If you look at the outside of many municipal boxes, it would actually show the box number as well. What would happen is they would then get the horses and they'd go to the fire, and even today you'll see a communications officer, or the deputy chief or chief, and you'll see a communications officer driving. And the purpose of the communications officer was really to go to this box, open up the box as soon as they arrived on scene, and through a Morse code key, punch in 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 1. That would tell fire headquarters that, in fact, they're on site. As we know it even today, the terminology of 2-alarm fire, 3-alarm fire, 4-alarm fire came when they needed subsequently more fire engines or more apparatus. They would punch in 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 1, 2. We have a 2nd-alarm fire, a 3rd-alarm fire. So here we are, we're looking at technology that really started in the 1800s and right up to today is used. So it's pretty interesting from that aspect. All this was mechanical, and it was all wind up, so everything you see here is mechanical in nature, and including the boxes. So a lot of cities and towns are taking these boxes down, and imagine with all of the lack of maintenance, so many of these systems are still up and running. It's a shame that they're disabling so many of these systems for lack of funds. So thanks very much for allowing us to share a minute with you, and we'll see you next time.